Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Hey, we're back. Today is part 2 of 12 Critical Success Secrets. And if you've not listened to part 1, obviously, go back and listen to part 1. I want to thank all of you who have given us great 5-star reviews on iTunes and Spotify. If you've not yet done that, you should feel seriously bad about yourself for actually not having done that, right?
That's right.
I mean, can we give them old-fashioned grandma guilt?
Totally should be beating yourself up about it every day.
What would grandma say?
What's wrong with you? Stop being lazy.
Right. Well, I don't know about you have a hard grandma,
Yeah,
man.
I do.
Mine wasn't that mean. But in any event, you get the idea. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes and Spotify. How about this? Please? There.
Please.
That's what my grandma would have said. Ask nicely.
We'll be very grateful.
Yes, so do so. And for those of you who've already done it, well, then you can sleep well tonight knowing that you've done your part
Right
to
thing.
continue to support the nation's #1 listened to daily podcast. So Julie and I have a lot of things we want to share with all of you guys today before we get to our point, which is point 7. We should finish out these points today. First of all, guess what? It does indeed seem that the economy has fallen into recession, and all of the interest rate talk about the interest rates rising are, in our opinions, that's going to level off. You're not going to see interest rates be able to be increased in a meaningful way when there's a recession going on. So don't overthink and don't allow yourself to be politicized, and don't start thinking that you need to start digging your bunker for the alien invasion. None of those things are relevant. All of these, I would call them headwinds to the economy. They're going to be, in some cases, substantial and significant and long-lasting, but you are in the right industry. You have been, the past version of you was smart enough to get a real estate license. Now let's make sure the future version of you gets the benefit. And you have to drill down. This is going to be a market where we're going to go from agents who have kind of been able to be somewhat flibberty-gibbety,
Yes.
okay, to agents who have skills. And you're going to see it's going to change faster and more meaningful than what you can possibly imagine. So whatever you are saying and whatever you are doing is going to need an update. It's going to need every single aspect of what you're doing to lead generate is going to need an update. Every single script you are saying, even I'm sure most of you are kind of winging it with what you are saying, all of that stuff is going to need an update. How are you going to overcome objections from would-be buyers who were seemingly motivated 90 days ago, who are now feeling all kinds of fear based on interest rates and the recession and all the rest of it? How are you going to convince them that it's still the best thing for them, assuming it is, to buy a house now, which in most cases it's going to be? How are you going to help people move past their fear of interest rates? Or how, you guys get the point? I had a great question the other day from somebody who messaged me talking about how do you convince, or not convince, that wasn't the right word, but how do you help a seller who wants to sell, who's got a great, very sellable house, and yet they're stuck in a situation where they don't have a place to go? We've done many podcasts on this, and I'll give you the punchline is you're going to have to create your own inventory. Just going to the MLS or going to all the normal suspects to find homes for sale is not going to do it. It all becomes skills-based. In a market like this, it becomes skills-based. And if you don't have the skills, you're probably going to miss this entire year. You're going to most likely not transact. You're going to maybe pick up a couple easy transactions here or there. Those are most likely going to be falling prey to a lot of people trying to sell you leads that don't ever transact, or you're going to end up taking referrals from whoever it is and end up paying half, if not more, of your commission. All of these types of things happen to agents that don't have skills. We did an article today on our main website, Tim and Julie Harris, talking about what talking about what Zillow is doing with their selling of buyer leads. Well, of course they're going to raise the fees. Of course they're supposedly getting rid of something like 40% of all their existing agents that they've been selling leads to. They're going to now charge 35% referral fee. Do you really believe they're not going to increase the referral fees to over 50%? Why wouldn't they? Many of the agents buying those leads, they don't have a choice. They don't know how to generate their own leads. They don't know how to be listing agents. They're beholden. They have made the biggest mistake of all. They have built their mansions on land they do not own. That's the reason ultimately you have to learn how to be a proactive lead generator and build your business the right way the first time. Now, if you've built your business the wrong way and now you're realizing that, well, it turns out that a slight interest rate increase or a slight fear about a recession or lack of housing inventory, if you're now coming to the conclusion that you've not built your business the right way, or maybe you did build the business the right way for the previous market, it is time for you to take a hard reset before that truth becomes any more obvious and painful to you. Don't do what agents always have done during business owners in general. They have always done every time there's a slowing down of the economy or a turn of the tides with regards to housing. They hold on too long. They keep on doing the same things they were doing before, hoping and praying that somehow magically the clouds will part, the sun will shine again, and everything will work again. I can give you countless, as can Julie, as can all of our coaches, give you countless examples of how people, and this is again normal natural behavior. You're going to keep buying leads. You're going to keep doing your branding, your social networking, your marketing, your building of your team. All these things that you thought were going to somehow get you into the end zone in your business and financially, you are going to hold on to those things for dear life, even though they're not working, never really did work, and now are not only not working, but they're costing you what would have been your profit, assuming you're making any profit. You guys get it? You've got to stop. You've got to come to the conclusion, or at least face reality, that maybe those things never really worked in the first place, or maybe they worked marginally well in a certain kind of market. That market is effectively over for most of the country. Now, there are certainly pockets. Housing is always, micro-focused, right? There are pockets where the housing market's going to stay incredibly hot, certainly price ranges where it's going to stay incredibly hot. But really what this creates, and frankly, buying a house is now better because of what's happening with inflation. Buying a house now makes more sense than arguably it has in a long time, because along with the inflated cost of everything will be the inflated cost of housing, which also includes the cost of rent. So, we've done podcasts about this too. Go back and listen to our past podcasts. But the bottom line is you have to realize while you are asleep, the economy and the housing market has taken a hard reset. If you're going to continue to try to operate using your old operating system, the old software, you are signing yourself up to suffer needlessly. And it's really important that you understand that. I know I'm being very direct with all of you guys, but Julie and I just came off, Julie mostly, a host of coaching calls. And, most of them were fantastic because they're longtime podcast listeners, longtime coaching clients. And they listened to us when we say that there was a reset that was coming. And we've been telling you guys this for 3 or 4 years. We noticed after COVID, it was really coming because we saw the government printing all these trillions of dollars. We knew this was going to happen. Listen to past podcasts. We told you inflation was going to come and that wasn't going to just be a Shangri-La for house values, that it was going to adversely affect the economy. This is what happens on the other side of recession, on the other side of a lot of inflation. People stop spending money. Businesses stop making as much money. What's going to happen next is businesses are going to start laying off people. Then that means the whole media is going to be full of bad news, which is going to create more fear for buyers, especially the lower end buyers. You guys with us in all this? This has become the best opportunity for all of you to have a skills-based approach to becoming a listing agent.
That's right. And a special shout out to all of you who are my new or newer coaching clients, my elite coaching clients. These are guys that I'm talking to and gals that are my one-on-one clients. I have to tell you, Tim, a very impressive crowd. Seriously. I would say if I were to generalize, they're coming to me right around 8 to 20 million in production, most of them.
You give an example. You were like the last person, who was the last person you were talking to? Larissa.
I love to brag on her.
Oh, I know who Larissa is. Yes, because she texted me. So Larissa, I know you're a pod listener. So this is like, I cannot tell you the last time this happened while Julie was on a coaching call. She actually messaged me and said, quote unquote, that frankly she loves you. So Julie basically may have just claimed you as being her new favorite client. I shouldn't have said it that way. She loves all of you guys.
I love all of you guys. But here's the thing about Larissa. Now Larissa has been in our Premier Coaching, so that explains some of it. She
has a vacation house in Murphy, North Carolina.
That's a different one.
Oh, that's a different one. Okay.
Which I also love. Also, very interesting crowd. Like I said, by and large, coming into kind of getting into the next level of coaching with a lot of your act together. There's no other way to say it. And I'll give you an example. I would say 80% of my new clients do have inventory. And what are these guys listening always complaining about? Not enough inventory. Hard to keep listings in inventory. Now, why is that? There are some commonalities. All podcast listeners, coachable, take action. Yes, that's true. But they have a variety of spokes built. Now, in this market, most business is done from past clients and center of influence.
A spoke is a source of leads, and we always suggest you and coach you guys and train you guys to build the proactive lead generation spokes first. If you don't know what we're talking about, buy our best-selling book. It's available everywhere. Easiest place to get it is Amazon. It's called Harris Rules. Over 500 5-star reviews. Get our book, Harris Rules. So Julie's using, parlance, really.
Parlance.
That comes from our book. So those of you who are longtime listeners know what she's talking about. But I always have to remind
That's
Julie
right.
that we're not just preaching to the choir here, because we do pick up a lot of new listeners every single podcast. Which, by the way, the podcast is going through the roof. It's up 26%
Awesome.
in downloads in the last 30 days.
Well
Go
done.
ahead. Sorry.
Well, so commonalities would be they do have inventory. So for all of you listening who have been frustrated with that, it is possible. But commonality is, yes, there's a strong spoke for all of them, past client center of influence. Most of them have been in business 5 years or more. Okay, that's true. But it's not 100% of their business. For example, Larissa is working with investors. She reminded me that we used her a few months ago as an example of somebody who did door knock a for sale by owner, one knock, one listing. Who does that? Only those of you who are proactive and coachable. Okay,
And know what to say and how to
say it. She has a builder who she's handling 2 new construction houses with currently, but is also building a 70 property subdivision. So that's exciting.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. The point is that she's not dependent on any one thing. And that is why she has not 1, not 2, not 5, but 15 active listings, even in a hot seller's market.
So Larissa, make sure you are talking with that builder about how to do in-house financing for that builder so you can start buying down the rates, and explain to the builder how to maybe help the folks get into 723s or some sort of variable rate mortgage, and then buy down the interest rate. That way his interest rates can be, even though his prices are going to be higher than, say, a similar resale home, his payment is going to be the same, if not less, because he's bought the rate down. Tell him to pack the money to buy the rate down in the purchase price of the house.
Yep, and we're going to do a whole probably series of coaching calls just about her new construction spoke. So that's exciting. I get excited as a coach because there's already these things that are set up, and then my job is to take them to the next level. One of the other common things that we're working on, I think, to a person, is this thing that we talked about yesterday, tracking your business with whiteboards. Not everybody does that. And I know you have spreadsheets and you have reports from your broker and you have all these
CRMs
things.
And
CRMs.
things.
But it is out of sight, out of mind. And one of the other clients I love, one of my newers, she said, I know I've got all these leads, but I put them in Top Producer and I kind of forget about them. Then I get a pop-up and I'm busy, so I tell the pop-up that I'll do it 3 days later, and then I forget about it. Okay, so that's out of sight, out of mind. Technology is great, but not if it actually removes business from your plate.
Remember what
so
Julie,
we're doing whiteboards.
Remember what Julie just said, because our point 7, which we're about to talk about in a second, is going to be in perfect alignment with what she just said. So the moral of the story is you are having personal clients into your life who are obviously have been in our orbit in some way or another for a long period of time. And it's fun to see the long-term ramifications
Really
of,
is.
frankly, our life's work and how we've helped. And, it's easy for us just to stare at each other while we're doing this podcast every day. And we wrote that book and we do our coaching business and we do all the rest of it. But to actually see what happens to people's lives as a result of what you and I have dedicated our life to
It's awesome. It's exciting.
It
I'm
is.
very grateful for that. And the funniest thing, because I always do a bunch of questions at getting to know clients, and one of my questions is, where's your business come from? Not just what is your business, but where's it come from? And it's so funny because they'll tell me the list, past clients, center of influence, repeat referral, and then all of them are like, and I don't buy leads.
Yeah, I know.
It's so fun. It's like a badge of honor, really, and it should be, to not buy leads. But why is that? It's because they've developed these other things.
Well, the buying leads business is going to it's going to be the death of many agents, unfortunately.
For sure.
And
It's already happening.
I don't mean the literal death, but that's what's going to happen.
Of their business. Yes.
Yeah, well, not just that.
Momentum.
The teams and brokerages who basically have built themselves in the last 10 or 15 years off providing buyer leads to their agents, those business models are going to be unbelievably under pressure just because of what's going on in the economy. But what's more, the cost of the leads are going to go through the roof. The inflation is going to affect the cost of the lead. In other words, the cost of the lead itself is going to increase. The number of leads that you're going to get are going to decrease. The quality of leads you're going to get are decrease. And yet your business is predicated. It's built on the idea that you're going to be able to have this never-ending steady stream of bought buyer leads. It's a fallacy, guys. It does work somewhat in a certain kind of market, but over the last really 5 or 6 years, that business model has proven to be oversaturated and very ineffective compared to somebody who knows how to proactively lead generate. So really the bottom line here, so I should ask you, and I didn't ask you this.
What's that?
So since you're bouncing off the walls, loving all your new clients,
Yeah.
are you willing to take on any more clients, personal?
Only if they're willing to work.
Okay, so how many? Give us a number, because your schedule is full as of yesterday.
Well, maybe 2 more. Maybe
Okay,
2
so
more.
if you're interested in being personally coached by Julie, she's just committed to taking 2 more spots. You have to you have to text me directly, and I'll ask you just a couple simple pre-qual questions. Not all of you, I would say probably most of you who are going to message me, you're not a great fit for Julie because of the fact that you'd be better off in our Premier Coaching Program, or you'd be better off working with one of our other coaches. And then you can upgrade to Julie after you get more cash flowing and frankly after you get your business a little bit more stable. So Julie's looking for people that are really, I'd say, tell me what your profile is. What are you looking for? It doesn't have to be an experienced agent.
No, I've got a couple that could be categorized as newbies, I guess. You have to be focused. You have to know what you want. You have to be willing to work and be coachable. And we do have coaching homework every week. Some of it is very specific production. Larissa, for example, committed to putting in contract $1 million worth of business between now and our next call. Now, she has an average sale price of about $300,000, so that's not just going to be one deal. Sometimes it's homework like that. Other times it is doing like the call before her, she had to do her whiteboards and send me a picture. So you have to be willing to be accountable. You have to show up on time. You have to have goals. You have to be, and I'll help you with that. You can't be somebody I'm going to chase down who's halfway in and halfway out.
So you're looking for people that are swimming towards your boat or are already in the boat, right?
Yes.
Not people who are swimming away, or not people you have to keep on shouting to turn around and swim towards you, right?
Correct. And if you are already in our Premier program, because some of them did upgrade from Premier, and you need the extra accountability and direction of a one-on-one call, then this may be for you as well.
But she's not going to waste time, frankly, trying to convince you to do the things that you know you're supposed to be doing, or you will do a little bit of Dr. Philling, but not really that much at the end of the day.
Not every call. I'm not doing that.
All right. A little Dr. Phil, little pretty kitty, as Julie's fond of saying. What does pretty kitty mean? Tell them.
Well, it's really an ego boost, confidence. You're okay. You look great today. You're doing a good job. The world's not going to end. You do have it together. It's going to be okay.
She calls it pretty kitty, and I'll tell you guys why you'll laugh at us. Because when we first got married, and we were married for 31 years this year, we wanted to adopt 2 cats.
Yes.
That's all we wanted is 2 cats. And we went to the Humane Society, and they were having a 2-for-1 sale.
Right.
And we didn't know when we got there. So we ended up with how many cats?
4 cats.
We ended up with 4 cats. And one of the cats we adopted was this cat called, her name was Ellie Lou.
Yeah.
And she was this big, fat, long-haired cat. Just, to look at her, you'd want to pet her. Well, if you pet her and pet her, she'd be real nice. She'd take it for a little bit, and then you'd say, "Oh, this is such a cute cat." And then she'd grab hold of you with all 4 paws. She'd sink her teeth into you, and she'd start kicking you with her back legs for no particular reason.
That's just how she was.
That's just how she was.
But all cats respond to the pretty kitty. When a cat's like strutting across your desk, Coach Rochelle has cats that knock crap off of her desk all the time. Okay, it's the funniest thing. But they're strutting across your desk, and you pet them along their back, and they start kicking their feet out. Oh, pretty kitty, pretty kitty.
Make them feel better.
You make them feel better, and then they've got their cat ego back in alignment, and they can get back to work.
So, yeah, there's a little bit of that. But for the most part, you guys have to be willing. The another way of saying it is, we'll help you guys light your fire. If you're in Premier Coaching, we have to do a lot of fire lighting on a regular basis. But when you want to upgrade and you want to be coached by one of our more seasoned coaches, it's okay to occasionally need help lighting your campfire. Yes. Maybe they're going to sit there and help you get the kindling together and get the fire started. But if you're going to come back to the coaching call every single week and ask for them to restart your fire, that's not a good fit for you. You need to start out something more basic so you can build your skill set and your confidence. That's just the way it goes. I mean, Julie and I were at, we go to the gym every day, and we were there this morning, and I put some videos of it on Instagram. You guys should watch. The coach was making Julie do some pull-ups, which, she's not a big fan of pull-ups. But he sat there, and we ended up doing something like 100 pull-ups, not all at once. And eventually she was able to do 5 almost unassisted by herself. And that's pretty significant for you.
It is painful. But yes, but that's an example of, at this point in that exercise, I need spotting, I need help,
right.
I need direction, I need coaching. I'm not somebody that just knows how to do correct pull-ups.
Whereas with a kettlebell, even at 70 pounds, you've got that down.
After training, yes.
Right. So if you guys are interested in being personally coached by Julie, you heard her say she's got a couple spots open. Text me directly, 512-758-0206, 512-758-0206. All right, point number 7. And if you want to hear the first 6 points, go back and listen to yesterday's show.
Point number 7, we're talking about when you're super busy, you're slammed, you've got pendings, you've got new listings coming and all that drama. What is okay to stop doing and what should you never stop, even when you're totally consumed with business? And point number 7 is you can stop pursuing less than motivated or non-responsive. I hesitate to even call them leads. I have air quotes around that word, but let them go. Now, if you've been doing a good job with your lead follow-up before you got slammed and they just aren't responding, chances are they're not real leads anyway. This is another symptom of the whiteboards when agents do this and they see themselves writing the same name they have written for the past 6 weeks, and they have called that person and they have brought something of value, but they're just not feeling the love. Guess what? It's not a lead anymore.
Well, here we were just talking about the difference between somebody who's ready for Julie as a personal client or somebody who's not. And here's the answer. Here's one of the questions that Julie might ask you when trying to essentially pre-qualify you is she'd say, how many leads do you have? And if you start telling her about your CRM with all of your leads, or if you start bragging about how many leads you have, you're not ready for her. Because what you're doing is you're gathering names. A lead by itself, and it's really important you guys understand this, it has no value. It's just a name and a phone number and something else on a piece of paper. It has no value. A pre-qualified lead where you've asked them the tough questions, where you followed a pre-qualification script, where you know what their challenges are, their symptoms are, where they're actually at in the process, that lead has value. You know ultimately what their motivation is. It's really important you understand this. CRMs and all these great things where you're dripping on people have been proven countless times to be incredibly ineffective. In all businesses, long-term lead follow-up, dripping on people, CRMs, I'm going to say it again, a complete waste of time as far as all of you should be concerned. Because ultimately, what that is a solution for a weak salesperson who doesn't know what questions to ask, or knows but doesn't want to ask the questions, who's just being, you guys hate this word, but it's a good word because it cuts through the BS, lazy. So you're putting them in a campaign, hoping that somehow your clever campaign is going to somehow woo them to want to work with you. Stop doing it. Stop wasting your time, especially in a market like this. Because what it does is it creates a false sense of security that you've got future business. Because, oh, look, Julie, I just sent this video. And I just sent it to 300 people. And I see 25 people just opened it and watched it. That means that
to which I say, so?
Exactly. So you shouldn't have been putting them in the campaign in the first place. That is a absolute surefire sign that your future earnings are going to be terrible because you're not asking the tough questions now. You don't know what questions to ask, do you, some of you? I get it. Learn to ask the tough questions by becoming a Premier Coaching client. Easiest way for you to do that is schedule a free coaching call with one of our new member coaches. Text the word JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 47372. Text the word JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 47372. You choose your day. You choose your time. You can have your own coaching call with one of our new member coaches. They will obviously help you finish the real estate treasure map, but they're also going to get you started understanding more about why it's now the perfect time for you to join our Premier Coaching Program. Text the word JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 47372. Remember, message and data rates may apply. Point number 8, we don't need to belabor this because we talk about it every day.
That's okay, but there's a little minor point that's important. Your fitness and nutrition routine cannot suffer when you're busy. Change it instead of skipping it. If you can't find time for your normal workout at the gym, replace it with a Saturday morning workout or a nighttime yoga class. Do something. Don't delete, just modify. Why? Because you need your energy, and it's a great place to also find new leads. It's a great way to work off the stress that you might be experiencing. So the thing is, don't delete it, just modify it.
And don't worry about feeling motivated to work out. Don't worry about feeling motivated to do the proactive lead generation. Don't worry about, and don't think you have to be motivated to do even pre-qualification or going on a listing appointment or doing any of the real heavy lifting in life. Because at the end of the day, everything you're searching for is not on the other end of finding your motivation or your big why. That's all time-wasting crap that this, frankly, guys, in this economy, all that sort of mindset stuff is going to consume you and you're going to suffer from it. And then you're going to blame the economy for the reason you're not being more successful. You're not being more successful because you're not taking more action. Everything you want in life, to point number 8's point, fitness, wealth, health, happiness, spiritual, everything is on the other side of doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. Stop thinking that your mission in life is to be happy. Happiness comes as a result of accomplishment. Happiness comes as a result of in the pursuit of accomplishment, which ultimately is from helping other people. That's where your satisfaction in life comes from. Stop acting like a child and believing that everything is supposed to be pleasurable. It's not. Most everything in life, if you stop thinking about it, is just habitual. Going to the gym, for example, do what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level because you have to, because it's your job, because you have to take care of your body, because the better shape your body's in, the other aspects of your life will improve as well. There's no downside for getting yourself in better physical condition. All right, point number 10.
Yeah, I can't. 9, actually. Go back.
Oh, did I skip one?
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's okay. So I was going to say I can't think of a time I just magically felt motivated to
We've
lift a
never,
kettlebell.
honestly, Julie, we have never once felt motivated to go to the gym, ever.
No, I like our walks, but not the gym. Yeah.
I haven't even felt, I like being with you and I like having conversations with you and I love our neighborhood and where we live. But no, I've never once felt motivated to walk 6 miles in the freaking Puerto Rican heat,
That's
sweating
true.
our cojones
We're
off.
like ants under a magnifying glass.
People drive by us in the golf cart and every single day. And when we go on our walks, we do it like 2 and 3 times a week. And they go like, I cannot believe you guys do this 2 or 3 times a week. And sometimes we go like, yeah, you're not alone on that one, buddy.
Or they'll stop and they'll go, are you guys okay?
Yeah, we say, well, we're looking. Our joke is we're looking for our golf cart. Have you seen it?
That's right. We're still looking. All right. So point number 9, set a deadline for when you'll return to your normal schedule. Of course, that assumes you have a normal schedule. Refer to your real estate treasure map.
What is this point? I don't understand this point.
Remember, we're talking about when they're feeling really slammed and things that they're changing to maintain their momentum.
Okay.
Instead of dropping things. So set a deadline for when you'll return, because here's what happens. Don't make your slammed schedule a new way of life. The dust will settle and you'll get back into control, but be clear with yourself when this will happen, because if they decide that I'm going to be, a mess all the time and I'm slammed and I'm disorganized, that can wreck their momentum because it becomes a way of life. It becomes of who they are. And when I wrote that point, I remember a closing I went to ages ago where the agent, whose name was Wendy, on the other side, came. This is when we did roundtable closings, and she came late. She was like 15 minutes late. Her hair was a mess, looked like she'd been through a tornado. Her file folder was falling apart, but she had like this, almost like a badge of honor that, I'm just so busy all the time. But here's the thing. I watched her clients look at her when she said that and roll their eyes at each other. Because it should not be a way of life to be, slammed all the time.
But
Okay.
there's a flip side to that as well. That's an ego thing that you just described. But
Yeah.
really where this also leads to is that you have to give yourself permission to say no to things. This is the reason, and we talk about this in our coaching program, in our book. The mornings are what, really at the end of the day, the morning is the best time of day to do everything, all the heavy lifting items. We've done, again, tons of shows on this. Your success in life comes down to really doing 3 to 5 things at a high level every single day. Mm-hmm. Again, talk about this endlessly. It's not part of today's podcast. When you do those 3 to 5 things at a high level every single day, especially if you're doing them when you don't feel like doing them, it does not matter what the weather is, what the interest rates are, what the politics are, what all the rest of it is. When you actually protect yourself and allow yourself to become the person that's inside that wants to come out, that when you are not allowing distractions, we talk about media free, all these, you have to say no. And you're going to find yourself having to say no to more things. And we're not talking about the next point, which is, fearlessly fast lead follow-up. We're saying no to office meetings. We're saying no to go to unnecessary travel. We're say no to things that are going to be absolutely positively not in alignment with your long-term goals, which is obviously helping people and selling a lot of houses. Say no to things. Do you have to join PTA, the bake sale club, and do all those volunteer things at your church? No, you do not. Some of them make sense, but if they start to conflict with your morning schedule and getting those 3 to 5 things done at a high level every single day, you won't give yourself the opportunity to build positive momentum in the areas. Like if Julie, we always use the fitness thing because it's something that instantly people can have a vision of in their lives. If you stop working out every single day, you're going to have a negative accumulation happen. You're going to get fatter. You're going to get, your body's not going to function at the same level. Like essentially, proactive lead generation, all these types of things. Once you start the activity, once you start the right activities, I should say, because a lot of people, frankly, spend time doing, especially in real estate, the wrong activity. Once you start doing the right activity, the things that are going to put yourself in a position to help people make money the quickest, you have to get better at it. The point isn't just to try it. Oh, I tried that. I tried the proactive lead generation. Now I'm going to go make some TikTok videos. How's that working out for you? Not well, right? Go back to what you know works. It does not make sense to spend your time doing passive lead generation activities, especially in a pivoting economy like this, when you know there's people in the marketplace right now who have their hands in the air and say, yes, I want to sell my house. The problem is you don't know what to say. You don't know how to find those leads. You don't know how to pre-qualify them. You don't know how to present to them. So you are stuck picking up other people's crumbs. That's what all this other passive stuff is all about. In a market like this, guys, how's that going to actually play out? When you are already feeling it, aren't you? Buyers are taking themselves out of the market. People are feeling fear. Maybe you are as well. The way for you to move beyond that is not just essentially, go hide underneath the staircase and wait for the clouds to part, or even waiting a month or a day or 6 months. Don't do it. Get into action now and realize that the natural behavior of other humans, especially real estate people, is to hide out and wait for the clouds to clear and the sun to shine again. Don't do that. You take action now and you will have less competition, essentially attracting new potential listings to you. Don't wait. Don't wait for someone to tell you it's okay that the market's going to be great again. Make your own market because of this market.
Which is a great lead into point number 10. Remember, we're talking about what you can't get rid of when you're really busy. Your furiously fast lead follow-up cannot be neglected. The worst thing you can do is have someone call you and hear that your voicemail is full. The second worst thing that they leave you a message or a text or an email and they don't hear from you for days or weeks or ever. Don't complain about feast and famine if you're not furiously fast on all forms of lead follow-up, even when you have business. I would say, especially when you have business.
I'll give a funny example.
Go ahead.
So you guys know to text me when you're ready to join EXP. Julie and I are associated with EXP Realty. We would be honored to earn the right to be your EXP Realty sponsors. You can text me directly at 512-758-0206, or when filling out the EXP Realty application, you can just name Julie Harris from Georgetown, Texas as your sponsor. But many of you will want to text me first. That's fine. 512-758-0206. To a person, when you guys text me, I'm always shocked that so many of you are surprised that you're texting me directly. And I have so many of you that will respond back, is this really Tim?
I know.
And I will mess with you guys every single time. I'm going to say, no, this is the Tim AI bot.
And some of them will believe that.
Well, because look, how much of a hypocrite would I be if point number 10, furiously fast lead follow-up, you guys text us wanting to join EXP Realty, and I didn't personally get back with you right away. Yeah. We are living by example. We are doing what we preach. So if you're ready to join EXP Realty and you're looking for a sponsor that's going to be proactive in your success, do text me directly at 512-758-0206. Point number 11, Julie. Oh, let me give it again. 512-758-0206.
Point number 11, your family. It is not okay to neglect the most important people in your life, even if you're busy. If you're like most people, when you get busy, you get snippy and neglectful. Don't make your stress into their stress. If you want your family to support you, show gratitude every day and explain it to them what you're doing and how the family will benefit. Daddy's super busy with new transactions, but I'm going to have a lot of time in just a few days. Let's plan on what to do this weekend, okay? Something like that. It's not okay to make your problems into their problems. Agents sometimes will complain that they don't have their family support, their spouse's support. Some of that is created by you, not always, but you can make it better by actually explaining what you're doing and being present for them.
By the way, we have, it's in a changing economy and a changing, all these types of things that are happening in the world. It is normal for people to, especially with inflation, it's normal for people to not know what to do with that stress, and so they internalize it. And because they're feeling out of control in many other aspects of their lives, what they'll often do, listeners, listen to me, what I'm about to tell you, because frankly, it can, in many cases, save your relationships. What they'll do is, because they feel out of control in so many other ways, the only thing that they can control is what's happening in their marriages or their relationships. And I'll give you an example. There's a great book. Do you remember that book, Astronaut, Canadian Astronaut?
The Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth by Chris Hadfield.
Damn, I've got a smart wife. All right, so that book, he talks about the fact that when he went to astronaut school, by the way, Julie, did you know that in like last 12 months that Elon Musk through SpaceX has had something like 30 astronauts in space, which is more than the amount of astronauts. We're approaching some sort of, but nobody's talking about it in the press.
And some of them were civilians. The last round were civilians.
But think about that.
I know.
Private industry is essentially making, it's incredible.
It is.
Well, anyway, so he's talking about, the Chris Hadfield guy was talking about the fact that a lot of the people that were becoming astronauts, they were fighter pilots before. They were top of their class. A lot of them were athletes. They'd gone to elite schools. These guys and gals were the creme de la creme. They were the best of the best. And they had sailed through many things in life. God gave them many natural talents, including the ability to handle high levels of G-forces, and maybe they had high IQs. You guys get the point. These people are the alphas of life. And now they decide they want to become astronauts. And in many cases, when they become astronauts, when they're going through the training to become astronauts, it's the first time in their lives that they actually are experiencing something that they can't easily do. Because, evidently in Canada, to become an astronaut, you have to, do some really seriously hard stuff. So the moral of the story, what we're trying to share with you guys, is that your pursuit to become successful in life is going to have to not come at the cost of your relationships. And what happens and he talked about this in his book, is that the astronauts were a lot of times divorcing their wives, breaking up their relationships. They're having marital issues. Mm-hmm. They were not able to control their environment professionally, and for the first time in their lives, they were feeling vulnerable. And so they internalized that as something's wrong. It must be my spouse. It must be my other relationships, and they blow their marriages apart. And he said him and I believe he said another astronaut, were the only ones who didn't blow their marriages apart when they were going through that training. I want you guys to think about this, because some of the stress that you might be feeling in your personal relationships is because of what's happening on the macro economy, is because of what's happening in your business, is because of the fact that you're not able to move from your subconscious mind the fact that you're feeling vulnerable because you're lacking, and you know this, your subconscious mind is telling you that you're lacking the skills and the business practices to thrive in this market. And so what's happening is you're now looking for other things to destroy. Please remember what I'm telling you. Julie, I don't want to make this podcast turn for the crappy, but how many different interactions have we had in the last 60 days, let's say, with people who are having problems in their marriages?
Too many.
Too many. It's like every single stinking party we go to.
Different varieties of it, but too many.
Exactly. And it's because of what we just described. Because many people, for the first time in their lives, well, who alive listening right now has really experienced inflation in a meaningful way? Who's experienced inflation and all these other things that are happening at the same time in a meaningful way? Well, that'd be a total of nobody, or maybe if somebody's like in their 70s or 80s, they have, but nobody else really has. And so it's natural and it's normal for you to feel fear. It's not natural and not normal for you to ruin everything just because your subconscious mind is saying, hey, Bob, it's time for you to get off your ass and realize the fact that essentially the world is now operating on a new set of parameters, new rules. You need to adjust. Where the stress comes in is when you're trying to make the old operating system that has essentially ran your life for a long period of time work in this new world. It won't, and you're going to suffer from it. I don't know how else to say it other than that.
No, you gave me a little kid flashback. It's funny because there's different ways that you deal with stress throughout your life. And one of my first realizations was when, I was probably a teenager or something, and I used to get into some kind of trouble with, my parents or something. And my dad made this observation. He said, you never practice piano as seriously as when you're mad at us. But that subconsciously was how I was taking out the stress, because the piano was something that I could have effort equals results. I could have some level of control.
You were in control of it.
Yes. And I remember later on in real estate, especially obviously in the summer, when I would get frustrated, deals were, having to be saved or whatever, I would go outside and pull weeds because I felt like, maybe because I was killing something, somehow I felt in control. But there's ways that you can manage yourself. The hard thing is to recognize that you're in the thick of it and that you might not have complete control of your emotions, of your mental, your physical, your emotional well-being, and then have an out. And this, I think, is why we always go back to exercise as one of our points, is because maybe not the first time you exercise and you're sore, but when you're in the routine of exercising, they talk about the runner's high. That's something that some of you guys can achieve. Even if you just go on a walk, that's more healthy than saying, you know what, I'm going to yell at my spouse or my kid because that's somebody I can push around.
The worst thing you could do is what we just described, is ruining your relationship. The second worst thing you could do, which usually happens at the same time, is substance abuse of some variety. And almost always these things go hand in hand. How many people got fat and became, low-level drunks during COVID? That'd be just about everybody. So you guys look at your lives, ask yourselves, what's going to stop essentially this negative momentum? If you're experiencing some in your life, what's going to stop that? Nothing other than you. That's it. And it's hard to, and your ego doesn't want you to actually, it feels terrible for you to actually say, you know what? I've been doing this for a long period of time. This has worked for a long period of time. Doing X equals Y. Doing this equals that. And I know that formula. I'm really comfortable at it. I don't even have to think about it and it still works. And then all of a sudden it stops working. And what your ego is going to do is it's going to say, nope, don't worry, Bob. It's going to work again. No, hang loose. Keep with it. It's going to work again. Throw some more money at it. Lead generation, branding, buying leads. Stay with it. Don't give up. And then you keep doing it. You keep doing it. You keep doing it. Next thing you know, you're now borrowing against your future savings. Now you're borrowing your kids' college. I remember countless coaching calls with people who lost their homes, blew through their kids' college savings, had no retirement. Now, why did they do that as a result of the housing crash back in 06, 07, 08, 09? Why? Because they kept trying to make work what no longer worked. And that's what many of you are going to do if you don't take seriously what we're telling you. We have been doing this for so long. We've seen these patterns happen in the economy. We've seen these patterns happen in people's lives. But here's what will eventually happen. You'll look back and you'll say, I wish I would have, and fill in the blank. Not waited so long is always the answer.
Yep.
I wish I would have taken action sooner. I wish I would have stopped doing that, buying buyer leads for Zillow. I wish I would have stopped worrying about my branding and worrying about my marketing. All of those companies that have been selling you all this get-rich-quick crap are all going to go out of business. They're all just going to disappear. You will notice you're going to get fewer emails, fewer solicitations, fewer everything, because all those companies are only designed to work when the market was going one direction. As soon as it starts to waver, as soon as it becomes a skills-based market, all those agents that were not learning skills, they go out of the business or they go dormant. Dormant is what's happening now. And you're going to see it in your marketplace. That's the reason you need to attack. That's the reason you need to be greedy. It's a Warren Buffett quote, right? Mm-hmm. When others are greedy, be fearful. When others are fearful, be greedy. What is it now, listeners? It is the greedy time. How are you going to be greedy in your marketplace? Some of you are saying, I don't want to see myself as greedy. Greedy means you're going to be greedy to help more people. Greedy means you're going to be greedy and learn more things so you can be of service to more people. A lot of it is simple skills that you can learn that you think you know, but you don't. And you're not, oh, what are you talking about, Tim? I know what I need to know. You knew what you needed to know in the old market. You don't know what you need to know in this new market. And that's unfortunately the truth. And do you remember the last point?
It was get involved in coaching,
Yeah.
as you might imagine.
That's right.
Get help. I don't know why anybody would want to navigate, especially today's market, by themselves. Because we can make it easier for you. We can shorten the learning curve. We can identify key things that you might not be noticing because you're in the thick of it. Even if you are, up to your eyeballs in closings, which many of my new clients are, then that's fantastic.
Well, that's what happens, though. The agents who are skills-based are the agents that start to essentially they
Absolutely.
gobble up market share.
That's already happening.
Totally. And they do it fast, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because right now, some of you will wander into listings because your old buddy from high school or the person you sit next to at church knows that you have a real estate license and they know the market's going one direction, so they're not going to be that picky who they're going to list with. As soon as they start seeing that the market's changed, they're going to become far more picky, and they're not going to list with you just because they like you or just because, frankly, you're related to them. They're going to be listing with people that they know have the skill set to get the job done. Are you going to present like that? Are you going to actually, have that skill set that these people are going to demand? Don't wait to essentially validate what we're telling you. Assume we're telling you the truth. And we've made it easy for you guys. Just text the word JOIN, JOIN, to 47372. Sign up for Premier Coaching. You can become a Premier Coaching client for around $100 a month, just depending on how you want to join. Just text the word JOIN, JOIN, to 47372. You will talk with a real live person about getting your real estate treasure map done, but also you'll talk to a real live person about becoming a Premier Coaching client. Be clear. The intent of that call is for you to join Premier Coaching, which is the direction all of you should be in. Text the word JOIN, JOIN, to 47372. Message and data rates may apply. So, Julie, I'm thrilled that you are so in love with so many of your clients.
I'm so excited for them.
And re-engaged with
fun.
doing high-level Premier Coaching clients.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah. And for those of you who are asking if I'm going to be taking on personal clients, the answer is no.
You've got to keep the rest of the plate spinning.
Exactly.
And, speaking of all of these changes, I heard, and we'll wrap here in a second, that month over month, here's something that they will be surprised to hear, 13% of active listings had a price reduction last
I know.
month. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And so there's definitely something amiss.
The froth
out
is
there.
coming
The
off.
froth is coming off.
Yep.
Things will settle in, and you guys are of course still going to make money, but only I really do feel that the skilled agents are going to thrive even more because I hear it from our coaching clients. I see it all the time.
The thing, and I have to say, Jillian, I think that this change that's happening now because of inflation and all these other things that are happening is going to be more, the skills that are going to be necessary are going to be more expansive, believe it or not, than even the housing crash.
I think you're right.
Yep.
Because it's different, and this time is not just like that time. There's just a kind of a strange mix of elements that everyone has to navigate through.
And I'll tell you, listeners, why. It's because of the inflation. The inflation genie is out of the bottle, and even if the inflation rate doesn't increase in a dramatic way for more than the rest of this year into next, and that's what's going to happen. Even if, let's say, it starts to level off next year, and let's say it becomes, maybe less than, say, 5%. And these are all big Fs because right now there's no doubt that it's double-digit inflation, which, again, we've never experienced before, which means the cost of everything's going to increase, which means most people are going to feel a lot of fear and panic because they don't know what to do. But here's the upside of this recession that evidently has already started in the inflation is that the Fed's not going to be able to raise the rates anymore. So these fears of these never-ending mortgage interest rate increases, not likely because it's just going to make the recession worse. So I seriously doubt that's going to be a continuation. But all these points that we've been sharing with you guys are all skills-based. You're going to have to be incredibly effective at pre-qualifying people and not work with people that are not in your boat or not swimming towards your boat. You guys get the difference? Look for the people that are actually going to transact. You don't know how to find those people. That's the point of becoming a listing agent, and that's the point of becoming one of our coaching clients. This is your time to thrive because of this market. Be greedy when others are fearful. Be fearful when others are greedy. Right now, we're absolutely entering into a phase where most people are going to be fearful. This is the time for you to shine. If you guys need us for anything, if you have any show ideas, any suggestions, if you'd like to communicate directly with Julie and I, anyway, the easiest way to do it is two ways. Instagram message us, and we're Tim and Julie Harris, big surprise, over on Instagram. Or you can just text me directly at 512-758-0206, 512-758-0206. In the meantime, you guys have a fantastic day.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.